Hey y'all, today fresh off Birds 365 over on Jacob. Did a great job over there. You should check him out. He goes over there regularly. He's from NJ.com, Philly beat reporter. Just watch Eagles Press anytime. You'll recognize his voice. Really funny guy. Great guest to have on is Chris Franklin. Right off the top, we're right off the few hours from the NFC Championship when the Eagles honestly just beat the hell out of the 49ers. Beat them pretty badly. I was saying to Chris off of air that to my eye, I know the score doesn't say it, but I think the physical beating that the Eagles gave the 49ers in football yesterday was worse than what the Nick Foles Eagles did to the Vikings. I mean, is that an overstatement, Chris? What do you think?
Yeah. When you look at the way that they were they were the more physical team by a long shot. I mean, granted, you could say Trent Williams when had that little mini fight between him and Kayvon Wallace and Job and everything. That was probably the most physical aspect you've seen from that team all day. They had their shots here and there over the shoulders, and there was a fight in the trenches. And talking to Jordan Mailata, he said, "Yeah, he's just getting his body. He's still sore after playing them, but." Yeah, I think that was the main thing. The way they're just more physical, the way they attacked at the point of attack, and look at it. What they did to that defense. I mean, a lot gets lost. Everybody says, "Oh, the 49ers are a top defense. 49ers were a top defense." Yeah, where Eagles were a little bit more than a yard just under them. They were number 2 by a yard. So if they stopped that 3rd and 30, what have you, against them, maybe the Eagles are actually the number 1 team defense in the league. So you never know when it comes to that stuff. So. Overall, I think that was a very impressive win on par, if not better than the one against the Vikings a couple years ago.
Absolutely. So last night, what was the craziest thing you saw in celebration? You know, the Eagles faithful always take it to new levels. So, what was the craziest thing you feel like you saw? What comes to mind?
You know, I kind of feel cheated. Because I hear all the stories about what happened in the 2017, 2018 season, and that one, and then everybody kept saying like, this is a lot more tamer. And I look on the news, I see people climbing up the light poles. You see all that stuff, and the bus shelter thing, which I'm glad most people were okay with.
What's the bus shelter thing?
Oh, the SEPTA, which is like the regional transit area around there.
Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority.
Yep, you got it. Perfect. Yep. That was right on it. They were standing. There's about it had to be at least 7 or 8 people standing on top of one of the bus shelters. You know, where people stand inside, wait for the bus to come there. Yeah, it collapsed because he had so much weight on the top of it, and everybody fell through. Yeah, so everybody's fine, but you look around, you see la la la. So that was up there. But in terms of the stadium and even in the locker room. The biggest takeaway was, wow, there's a lot of cigar smoke in here, and everybody was having fun lighting those up. That was about it. But I feel cheated. If anybody said it was pretty tame.
in the locker room or outside?
Oh, locker, both a little bit. Because granted, I went outside. Like I got most of those things from watching social media. I didn't leave there until about 10:30. The stadium until like 10:30. But in the locker room, it was chill. It was jovial and everybody had fun. But it felt like just another win with just you had the added thing of they're wearing conference championship hats and T-shirts and their cigars. That was the only difference.
Has Jalen transcended the Philadelphia fan base? Has the fan base now decided money on the table? Is that where we are?
It sure got to the team. It sure got to the team where it felt like there's like you hear it. We got one more to go. We're going to take it a day at a time going against the Chiefs. You heard stuff like that a lot. It's like, yeah, it sounds like the captain and the quarterback. Yeah, that message is definitely getting through. And, yeah, it's gotten them this far, and it potentially is going to get them further.
It's unbelievable how you couldn't have convinced me that Jalen Hurts was going to do this year to get to the Super Bowl. I was a Jalen Hurts supporter. I mean, I was somebody who was like, the people need to give him a chance. It was only his second year when he actually got to start with the Falcons, and you had the ups and downs that season. He took you to the playoffs. Yeah, they got beaten pretty badly by Tom Brady and the Bucs, the defending Super Bowl champs. But that was good experience, and people wanted to throw him to the wayside. It was, to me, it was ridiculous. And so, but even with that said, if you would have convinced me that the Eagles would have been able to sojourn all the way to the Super Bowl, I would have been like, okay, well, that was a nice dream you had last night, and I hope I get to have one of those too.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
it's
I
crazy
don't.
because it's crazy. I
Yeah,
thought they were going to get a playoff win. Like I thought they would win the division with 11 wins and get a playoff win, and that would take them to the divisional round. And then they meet a team like I thought at the time could be like the Packers or Cowboys, what have you. And then you look at this team and you see the way that they've just marched through this schedule. And who would have thought, looking back, your losses are to the Commanders and the Saints and those teams. You see, they're looking like, wow, this team really only lost to them. All right, and the Cowboys down and you were taking the Cowboys loss, even though it's still the Cowboys. You were taking that loss at their place.
dropping
You
34
understand
with
that?
Gardner Minshew though.
Yeah, yeah, and still with a chance to win. They should have won that game because you turned the ball over 4 times. And so you take those
Right.
away, you're like, this is an impressive season, and it's not over yet. And that's the scary thing about it. Like they have some matchups against this Chiefs team, and I think it's crazy what they've been able to do. It really is looking back on the whole thing, and it's been a good run for them.
My confidence about the Chiefs game, from the perspective of somebody who has a favorite football team, is just through the roof. I just, to your point, I think that there are so many matchups that both Gannon and Sirianni are going to be able to exploit in this game, and I feel like what the Chiefs do best is throw the football. That's what they want to commit to doing. And that's what the Eagles do best is defend the pass. Weirdly, I mean, finally we can say it. Let's give Jonathan Gannon his flowers. Excellent job this year through what is this? 20 games now.
Just about, yeah.
20 games.
You look at it. You go through the playoffs. You only allow 7 points in each game. Like, granted, and everybody's going to go, well, you played Daniel Jones and Brock Purdy / Josh Johnson. Well, still, you had to stop them and take them out the game and come up with devise a plan to limit what did them best to even get that far to begin with. And that whole safe, everybody makes fun about the safe approach and not letting the deep ball get past you behind you. You're playing so much zone. Well, look at what the way teams are going now. You pretty much you got the second best. I still think Fangio, the developer of this scheme, is really good. And the fact he's going to Miami, I'm scared about the Dolphins next year. They're should be good, but
Absolutely.
you got the second best option they have here, who's coming back. So yeah, they got the right people in place for that.
And when you just have a superstar pass rusher, and I'm talking about Hassan Reddick, of course. I mean, Josh Sweat's good, right? Javon Hargrave's a great pass rushing. I would classify him as a great pass rushing defensive tackle. But Hassan Reddick, you really can't. It doesn't even matter. They don't really on a lot of plays even have a play. They're just beating the guy across from them, and he was beating them like a drum yesterday. And those guys are just it just totally wrecks the game, and that's what the Chiefs do best. And you got Mahomes. I was seeing a lot of people on social media, I feel like, disrespecting Patrick Mahomes, saying that he was faking the ankle injury. And selling it kind of. That's a high ankle sprain. You can tell that guy is struggling out there. And to have Hassan Reddick bearing down on, he's already healthy, 100% healthy. Hassan Reddick is substantially faster than Patrick Mahomes. So, but with that high ankle sprain, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a real problem for them.
The good thing for them is that they have that bye week before. And that's going to help them. I think so I think we'll see a little bit more healthier version. The thing that always gets me about Mahomes, I think it's going to be tough, is when he throws at so many those different arm angles. It's going to be one of the things where you can get the ball out of his hand quickly. It's a matter of just making sure he doesn't use a sidearm or the 3/4 get out there as a receiver starting to break open. And then we always know that his improvisational skills. Wow, I say that 5 times fast. When he tries to just flip it in front of a running back that's right in front of him, and the next thing you know, they're picking up 10 yards and it's a first down. So I look at those as the things that it's going to be a good matchup. But I think this defensive line, Son Reddick, they can have a really good day and pressure Mahomes and really affect that passing game.
Yeah, and you know, even the Chiefs fans listening, I'm not saying that y'all are going to get beat like the 49ers got beaten or the Giants got beaten. They're not going to just give up 7 points to Patrick Mahomes. Nobody should be thinking that. I think the Chiefs get into the 20s, but they're going to be limited in what they're going to be able to do. And then they have Travis Kelce. It's important that they also get him healthy, because I've said this many times, other places and on this show. I think Travis Kelce's the best tight end I've ever seen, but he is clearly hobbled, and so it's a great matchup for the Eagles. I feel
And
like
just
when I was watching that game, I got to a certain point at watching the AFC Championship game, and I'm kind of like, bring on whoever. That's how I was feeling.
and just think this is not going to be the last time we see them. You got the Eagles. This could be a little mini rivalry that happens in this little short span, because you got the Eagles playing them in the Super Bowl. You got the drafts, and you got the draft in Kansas City this year. So could you imagine either the Eagles have to make that pick right before the Chiefs if they lose, or the Eagles coming up as the Super Bowl champions, and that reaction that happens there, and then you got them again on the schedule next year. It could very well be, known in the NFL, it very well could be the opening game of the year. So this could be we get to see some insight, a good start of what could be a really good rivalry. These teams should be good for the next 2-3 years. So yeah, I think we're going to be treated to some good football in the near future.
I'm so like excited about right now. I don't even want to start thinking about what they could do with that top 10 pick. I mean, that's just ridiculous. You go to the Super Bowl and you have 2 first-round picks. I mean, much more on that later, y'all. Much more. But so you think the Eagles dominated yesterday, but if you had to give the award to the unit of the day yesterday, they won because X unit dominated. Who was that?
Oh, because of the offensive line. Because the way they took that front seven, and you look at the play design, I still look at the second Miles Sanders touchdown, where the fact that you had Jordan Mailata push his guy so far to the left that he almost near out of frame. You had Landon Dickerson blocking down toward the center of the line, taking his guy out of frame, and you had Jason Kelce looping around and pulling like loop around and pulling to be a lead blocker, and you had a big hole for Miles Sanders to run untouched into the end zone. I looked at the way that line played, and also the fact that I thought they all played well. And you got also say Andre Dillard too, coming in the pinch when Landon Dickerson hurt his arm/elbow somewhere, something in that area. You saw he played effectively too. So I think that to open up those opportunities to give Hurts enough time, given that they're in some of those complex rushes that D'Amico Ryans was throwing at them, where like, oh wow, they're going to rush both in double A. Sorry, we're pulling these back. Oh yeah, we're going to send somebody else on the edge and try to come down this way. And they gave Hurts a chance to run the offense in that running game. I mean, 3 touchdowns against that defense. Yeah, it's pretty. 3 rushing touchdowns, at least three at the beginning, early on. Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah, Miles Sanders, if I remember correctly, he went untouched into the end zone, both end zones,
Yep.
on both touchdowns, untouched.
Yep.
I think they were both over 10 yards.
He said, like, somebody asked him, like, were you touched on any of those? He's like, no. He just like, so they're like, no. You got a guy like that. You got against that defense, and you got lanes open. That's a good unit. Probably one of the best offensive lines the Eagles have had.
And what a great moment for him. I mean, he on the second one when he goes untouched into the end zone going to the right when you're watching on TV, he blew kisses to the fans because that could be Miles Sanders' last game as an Eagle in Philadelphia. So that, in retrospect, could end up being a really nice moment. I mean, we'll see what they do, but that I'll just say that was that could be a nice little one that you'll see on Twitter in a few, or whatever the social media platform that of note is at the time. Somebody share that. Remember that time Miles Sanders scored the second one and blew kisses to the fans? That'd be one of those moments.
Oh man, yeah, he's bounced back. You look at him, he's bounced back big time. He's done very well, and mean, you go from a year where you don't have any rushing touchdowns to you have a career year rushing, get your first 1,000-yard season, and you're in the end zone, and you're a Pro Bowler. Yeah, he's bounced back in a big way.
To that point, I know, and I'm not asking you to, divulge any conversations to this effect at all, even if you've had them. But would you suspect that Miles put out there? He said, bring me back. Is that him kind of saying that he's not looking to go and get Saquon money or bring me back, pay me Saquon money? Is that what he's saying?
I think he really his first choice would to remain here. It's a matter of it's going to come down to you have to get an extension for Hurts finished first. I talked to a
Absolutely.
few GMs about that. If they have to set that so at least they know how much money they have left to spend on the remaining free agents. I think there's like something like 18 free agents that are going to be out there for the
There's no
Eagles to re-sign.
contract negotiation. There's Jalen Hurts at lunch sliding an envelope to them with some zeros on it, and we'll see what's on there.
Yeah, and you know what the thing is like that. Jeffrey Lurie has shown that has no problem opening checkbooks if it's for the right reason. I think when you look at what Hurts brings his team, it's the right reason. We said that before with Wentz, but I think this time you see there's a little bit more of a team aspect and a little bit more team friendly quarterback with less controversy around him. So you got that. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. For a running back, it's tough because you look at this year, especially, you got Jacobs, you got Barkley, Pollard. I know Pollard's injured, but when he's back, he's really good. And then you got a new crop of running backs always coming in, like a good, always got like 10, 15 running backs that seemingly going to be drafted as well, too. So, and you got Gainwell who's starting to emerge a little bit. And you still got Scott, who's a free agent, but I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back, too. So, unless the
Absolutely.
Giants try to scoop him up to try to not hurt him anymore, but that's a whole other story. But you look at those all in there, I think
They would pay Boston Scott top dollar for that.
yeah, I can see that. Like, it's rarely used, and I think he's that important to this team. It's rarely used, but I might still have to transition tag on him just for 1 year. Get paid the top 10 of the running backs in the league. Hey, you know what?
Miles Sanders?
I put the transition
Okay.
tag on him. I use that.
Okay.
Wouldn't franchise him because some of those numbers I'm seeing, I'm like, nah. If anything, I know it probably anger Bradbury, but I could seriously consider franchising Bradbury. I think he's that good of a player. But yeah, they got a lot of tough decisions to make this year, a lot. But Sanders, I could see Sanders coming back like a 2-year deal. That's something that's if they do extension like 2-year deal. I don't have a money range yet because it's going to depend on the flow, but I think I probably say there's a 55-45 chance he's back. I know it's not taking. I'm taking a stand. 55-45, he's back. Oh,
That is a
okay.
stance.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what do we all know? I mean, you're as close to being able to know, and it's hard to know because you're not in those rooms when Miles and the people are talking, and we also don't know what the number is that Jalen has slid across the table to Jeffrey and to Howie. I mean, the Eagles paid Carson Wentz, and he was holding a clipboard at this point, so they're gonna pay Jalen.
Yeah, the rise and fall. That's been that fall has been rough. I wonder what's going through his mind right now. And I'm not trying to bash him or anything. I wonder what's going through his mind right now, like saying, like, hey, you helped this franchise get to the playoffs and in a position to win that Super Bowl 5 years ago. Now the guy who replaced you is in the Super Bowl playing again, and neither time you didn't get a chance to play in either game. Like, that's rough. I mean, for me, if I'm sitting there on a quarterback, I'm sitting like, if I'm him, I'm sitting there thinking like, well, what's happened? Like, what happened? I know he's had the injuries, and he's looking at this. That's got to eat at him a little bit. I would think if it was me, it'd eat me a
To
little
take
bit.
on what Jalen did, though, Jalen gave him the playbook. You got to go back to the workshop, my man. Clearly, every time you come out of the game, your team takes it to another level for the other team, not just out of like off of a franchise, but when you come off the field, you can name so many guys that have come in for Carson Wentz, and his team looks better. It's something about your leadership style is not working with the guys, and something about the way you're playing the game isn't working with your guys. You've seen so many guys reinvent themselves, guys with cannons earlier in their career, get a elbow injury, start becoming a more precision West Coast quarterback, or running backs who do all the. It's time for Carson Wentz to do that, or 1 year time from now, we'll probably be talking about Carson Wentz maybe with a microphone or something.
For North Dakota State games. Like he's our color analyst for North Dakota State football games. Carson Wentz, welcome back, Carson. Thanks. Yeah, that's and who would have thought that would have happened? Seriously, like that's just it's.
Not even trying to bash him. To your point, not even trying
I
to get
feel
on the guy. These are facts.
I feel it's. I kind of feel bad for him. Like I legit
Yeah,
like kind of feel bad for him in a way when
yeah.
it comes to that stuff. But hey, listen, that's things happen for everything happens for a reason. Things happen for a reason. There's a reason why he's not no longer with his team, and he's about to be a free agent again.
So even after running through the NFC, 69-14, the Eagles are. It looks like they might get the opportunity to bring out the dog mask for the Super Bowl. I mean, do you think, one, do you think that that's actually going to happen when the line settles, and two, how do you think that that wears for the fans? Do you think that that'll be more familiar and allow the fans to feel more comfortable being themselves at the game?
And early on, like it depends on the sports book. Because I've seen two books that had the Chiefs a favorite. And I saw one book had the Eagles a favorite. And all of them, there seemed like be heavy money that was being placed down on the Eagles. And I don't know if it's reaction. I don't know if everybody was partying. Like, oh, look at this. Oh, yeah, the Eagles are going to win. Throwing 100,
Put a million on
$200
it.
down. Yeah, like, oh, gosh, if Mattress Mac gets on this game. Anywho, but yeah, you look at all this stuff and it's like I can see the line settling near even. I can see somebody at game time. I can see well, depending on if Mahomes continues. They say Mahomes' ankle looks a lot better. He looks a lot better in practice, moving around. I can see the Chiefs being like a two and a half, somewhere around there. But overall, even if not, I don't think. I think the masks were a one-time thing. I don't think we'll see Lane coming back out looking around. If Chris Long all of a sudden decide, hey, I'm signing today, and then I'm gonna do that mask. Okay, maybe, but yeah, I think that one. This team just they won't say it. And talking to those guys yesterday, they won't actively say it, but they'll be watching. They'll sit there. They'll use that as fuel. I think the fans will always do that. Like fans will just go like, you know what, we're disrespected. Like we did all this. We read through our conference
Yep.
meeting, going, yeah. We're like, okay, we'll take this. But I think the Eagles won't say it outwardly. They'll give their pleasantries and they give their due to the Chiefs, but behind closed doors, they will definitely use that as motivation.
And so for the listeners, I don't just bring on people just, because because they're willing to say yes. I actually like these people that we bring on. So I was watching you a few minutes ago and you raised a great point on Birds 365 before you came on here. You guys can go and watch that on Jacob Media YouTube channel. And Chris was talking about how the NFL awards are set to happen the Thursday before, and that those guys are going to they'll be watching, like you said, they'll be watching, and they're going to be looking to see how much did we get snubbed. And again, I feel like that I think the underdog mentality is about to take effect. I don't know. You're right. Probably no masks. A few silly fans will wear the mask, maybe even me. But but it won't be the team.
Yeah, it won't be that what to. But yeah, that's and looking at the NFL honors, like they legit could get shut out from all of them because Patrick Mahomes will likely get the votes for the MVP. I mean, D'Amico Ryans, I think, will probably get the assistant award, this best assistant award over Shane Steichen. So you're going to start looking like, wait a minute, you have all like it's setting up so much like 2017, 2018 that aspect where you're going to have a lot of talk about the Chiefs. I can see the Chiefs be talking. Is this going to be is this the next dynasty happening and being built here and it's being in Kansas City and everything? I see a lot of talk going on focusing on Chiefs, even though the Eagles have had a really good season, have really put things together. And this team, when they feel like they're slighted, it's something about them that they just good. Like they felt they were disrespected away yesterday when everybody was talking about the defense, at least anyway. You could see like they were talking about the 49ers defense. Well, He got ignored. Like they felt like, oh,
Right.
you guys want to talk about them? Okay, and you saw what happened there. So
You raised a great point. If not for that Josiah Scott blown cover 2, they might have been the number 1 defense in the league.
yeah, 3rd and 30. What is?
You can't give that up. I'll always remember
Yeah.
that. Even after the Super Bowl gets raised by number 1, uh, that play is like one of that 4th and 26. It's like the opposite feeling.
But and it's funny because after like that, ever since then, like you see, like they'll run like usually a cover 3, or they'll use it'll look similar to Jim Johnson's picket fence in a way where you start seeing like all the guys like, yeah, this is drop back here. It's like this looks eerily familiar, huh? Picket fence, well, it's something about this team. I was joking with somebody in the press box yesterday. It's something this team went like 3rd and longs, 4th and long, like of 20 or whatever. Because when I think it was that McCaffrey run that draw, he got pretty close to the first down. I think he's
He
like
did.
it's like
3rd and 14, and I think he got 12 or 13 on it.
And it was like, yeah, maybe you should just like everybody knows the down distance, but maybe on a scoreboard, just say it's like it's 3rd and 5. Maybe you'll play a little bit better when those long distance things. But it's crazy. But yeah, hey, you rather see him in that position, getting the sacks and everything, 3rd and longs, 4th and longs, stuff like that, instead of 3rd ones, 3rd and 2s, and you don't know what's coming at all.
So, Jason Kelce, there's been some talk about him potentially him retiring. Now he gets a chance to play in the Super Bowl against his little brother, who's amazing. Again, I believe Travis is the best tight end I've had the opportunity to watch, but it's his little brother. Does the Eagles winning this year's Super Bowl against Jason's little brother, does that increase the likelihood that this really could be the last game for Jason Kelce?
I think so. I think when you look at the core, when you look at Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Jason, they're all technically going to be free agents at the same time. When you look at how this team's probably going to change, it's going to be a different look next year. And you have the replacement there. You had Cam Jurgens serving a 1-year internship learning under him just to set up to be the bridge. I look at that and you can't. If I'm Jason, there's no better way to go out. You get to play against your brother, something you talked about a lot. Your family's there, you seeing that, and especially if you win the Super Bowl and you brought 2 within 5 years, it's just all set up for say, you know what, I want to make that one last parade down Broad Street in the Parkway and call it a career. It's just set up perfectly. It's like because you can't do much from there on out. Because say you finished
2 Super Bowls
10
in
years,
5 years.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah, it's like we're done this. Your body's getting older. You want to put another year of wear and tear on you. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love hearing them talk. We were asking questions
God,
because
yeah.
it's exciting. It's great. I think he'll do really well when he transitions to our side. I think he'll be a very insightful analyst and a good podcast host. But I think if we're looking at everything, I think for anybody who's followed the Eagles or covers the Eagles, I think you should just enjoy this last game and these last couple weeks. It just has that feel like, you know what, maybe that now if they lose, maybe he comes back for one more, but yeah, it just has that feel. It just feels like that.
And I mean, he plays a violent position. He plays it in a violent way. He's one of those guys that put on more weight to be in the league. When Kelce gets back out of the league, he's one of those guys that I really see slimming down probably significantly because he has to do some, keep up his his calorie intake and his workout. I don't think, it's hard to be that. And then that position, it's such a heady position. You got to know all the checks and all that. Go out on top. I mean, nobody's rooting for a game to be Kelce's last. You never want to see somebody like this. His number, there's no question about it, should be retired. But, as I was thinking about this, as you saw the Chiefs win and saw his little brother giving his great speech, I think what Birds fans should be hoping for here is another one of those ridiculous Mummers Parade outfits, another stop at the museum and Kelce to join his outlet of choice.
Yeah, I think we're going to see it's going to wind up that way. It's crazy. I think he's been here this long and has played that high of a level. Yeah, he's put up a pretty decent resume, a very not decent, a really really good resume over the course of his career.
So for the game, I always ask you this, but I'll ask for more insight. And hopefully, I've been saying to Chris it while we're both out there because I'm going to Arizona. Is that maybe
Nice.
we'll bring y'all one in person with Chris and us in person, so we don't have any of the Wi-Fi skippiness on y'all. But so I'll ask you again. But almost certainly the Eagles wear the green jerseys, white pants, right?
I would think so. I would think so. I mean, technically they're a home team, so I think they get the choice, and that's to me. If you're the whole team, that's the thing. Yeah, I think that's the way you go. I don't think you go to white jerseys or anything like that. Yeah, I go midnight green, white pants. I think that's the combo of choice, and they had success with it this year, so I think that they'll stick with that.
And so you said that this year they brought back media. I thought it was media day, but it's media night now.
Yeah, it's media night. They for what I think it's going to be I think it's in the stadium where the Coyotes used to play, but it's at some stadium, some arena, and I think we get an hour piece. And I gotta look it up again, but I think we get an hour piece with each team. And they've sold. I know in the past before COVID hit, they sold tickets to us for people to actually watch, fans to actually come in and sit around the things and just watch what happens. And I just remember watching the videos from previous years. It just gets crazy. Like you'll have what could be 200, 300, 400. Like it could be a lot of reporters mulling around the floor with all these different players at different podiums and stuff like that. So there's going to be a huge podium for Sirianni, a huge podium for Hurts. There's some other guys that are going to get their own little smaller podiums, and there's guys be balling around. And then it's just a free for all. You just going up there. People are going to start yelling questions from all different things. It's going to look similar like during the combine, where you see all the people like that. It's going to look a lot like that, but that's the ones where you see people with the crazy outfits coming on, the weirdest questions getting asked. Like, if you were a taco, what filling would you have inside, Jacob? Like, it's
No
the weirdest
way.
stuff. I gotta find.
I didn't know
like,
people were asking stupid stuff like that. I'm sorry. I don't like saying people's questions are stupid, but come on.
It's for the shock value. A lot of entertainment for shock value stuff like this. There's some things you hear like I'm sitting watching like what like one thing I think it was Guillermo from the Jimmy Kimmel show. I think went out there one year and started asking questions. So you get stuff like that happens. So that's going to be an experience. Very much an experience. I'm trying to get like some stories that was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is going to be different, but. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that all shakes out. It's gonna be craziness.
Yeah. So, give me a very early score prediction, Chris.
I still need to. I still want to.
Very early
deep dive. Deep dive.
Because my personal line moved last week. I thought 38-28.
30-28 Eagles.
30-28.
Yeah, I think we'll see some. I think we'll see the ball move a little bit. I think both these teams will move it efficiently. I think it's gonna be entertaining. I think there'll be a lot of sacks on both sides. It's gonna be one of those things where you're sitting there looking like this is a really good game. I think it'll be a very entertaining game. And I think enough points we have in 30. I think early on it's gonna be 30-28 Eagles.
Woo. All right. Heartbeat picked up a little bit, even just hearing that.
It won't be comfortable. It will not be comfortable. I think. I think it's going to be 160. I think it's going to feel a lot like Super Bowl 52. I really do. Like I don't think it's going to come down to a Hail Mary, but I think it's going to be one of the things. It's the fourth quarter, and it's going to be a really tight game. And it's something about the desert. The Eagles. Something about the desert. The Eagles have played weird against us. Really tight games. I mean, they won their trip out there this year, 17-16, something like that, I think it was. But yeah, it's going to be a tight game.
Early call from me. Call the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson pick. They're going to try to air it out. Chauncey's dangerous back there. He led the league in picks in 11 games. Watch out, Patrick, as you prepare this week.
I can see that too. Yeah. It's going to be, they're going to throw the ball around. So, hey, maybe try to force it to Valdez-Scantling, and next thing you know, I can see him picking. Like he can jump in that route and pick it off. I think Slay's due for one as well too, or Bradbury. I think one of them for they're due. So it's going to be. Oh, I can't wait. This is going to be a fun game to watch. It really is.
Thank you so much for coming on. You all can follow him at C Franklin News, or just watch pretty much anything my man Chris is taking over, and just watch Philly sports coverage, and you'll see him. He's coming soon to a screen near you. Chris, thank you.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much, man. Look forward to talking to you.